Dead weight at my own husband's funeral. That is what she called me. 6 months ago, I buried Robert. 41 years of marriage. Vanessa was the only family I had left. 3 hours after we lowered her father into the ground, my daughter looked me in the eye and said those words, her husband Marcus nodding behind her like he agreed with every syllable. Mom, you are dead weight now. Time to face reality. I did not scream, did not cry, did not even argue. I just pulled out my phone and stopped the recording app. 52 minutes of conversation. Every single word captured. You see, I built a $215 million healthcare software company by learning one simple rule. When people show you who they really are, believe them the first time. Vanessa and Marcus had just shown me exactly who they were. What I did next? Well, let us just say they learned that dead weight can still move mountains when it has $48 million in liquid assets. But Vanessa had made one critical mistake. She forgot that I built my fortune by paying attention to details. Details like the fact that I had given her everything and she had given me nothing but contempt. Let me take you back to the beginning. When Vanessa was 7, Robert and I started a college fund. By 18, that fund had grown to $485,000, full ride to Spelman, MBA from Wharton, every penny covered. Her wedding to Marcus cost $138,000. I wrote that check without blinking. The venue at the Four Seasons, the catering, the honeymoon in Santorini. I even paid for Marcus's bachelor party in Miami, $14,000 for one weekend of excess. But the real gift was the condo. 2,300 square feet on the 19th floor of Pinnacle Tower in Midtown Atlanta. Corner unit with city views that stretched all the way to Stone Mountain on clear days. I handed them the deed as a wedding present, $920,000, just like that. For 7 years they lived rent-free in luxury while I covered the property taxes and HOA fees. $3,500 a month. I never complained, never asked for a dime back. That was the old Margaret, the mother who thought love meant giving everything without question. But 3 weeks before Robert's funeral, Vanessa called. Not to check on how I was handling the medical bills. Not to ask about hospice care arrangements. She wanted to discuss estate planning. Mom, we need to talk about your assets, she said. Professional voice like she was discussing a business transaction. I should have seen it coming then. But grief makes you stupid. Makes you hope your family will be your family when you need them most. The funeral was on September 20th, small service at Ebenezer Baptist. Robert's wishes, just close friends and family. By 6 in the evening, most people had left. Vanessa and Marcus stayed behind, said they wanted to help me process next steps. That is when Marcus pulled out a manila folder. Printed documents. They had done their homework. Margaret, Marcus said. Not Mom, not even Miss Ellison. Just Margaret, like we were colleagues. We have been thinking about your living situation. Vanessa jumped in. The condo is way too big for one person. And honestly, Mom, you have been making some concerning decisions lately. Concerning decisions. Like spending $365,000 on Robert's cancer treatment. Like choosing to be with my dying husband instead of attending Marcus's promotion celebration. We found this great senior community, Vanessa continued. Magnolia Gardens. It is only $3,000 a month. Only $3,000. I was paying more than that for their property taxes and fees. The thing is, Marcus said, sliding papers across the table, we would like to take over the condo. Help you transition into this new chapter of your life. New chapter. That is what they called my husband's death. A chapter. Vanessa needs space for her consulting business, Marcus explained. And we are planning to start a family soon. We need the extra bedrooms. I looked at my daughter. Really looked at her. When did she become this person? When did my little girl turn into someone who could discuss stealing her mother's gift while her father's funeral flowers were still fresh? "What about the mortgage?" I asked quietly. "There is no mortgage, Mom. You paid it off, remember?" Vanessa's voice had that patient tone you use with confused elderly people. The deed transfer would be simple. Clean. No complications. No complications. 41 years of marriage, 33 years of raising a child, 7 years of supporting their lifestyle. No complications. That is when I started recording. Quietly opened my phone under the table and hit record. "And where exactly am I supposed to live while you take over my home?" Marcus leaned forward. "Like Vanessa said, Magnolia Gardens is perfect for someone your age. You will have people to socialize with, activities, meals prepared, no maintenance responsibilities. They have a great library," Vanessa added. "You could join book clubs, do crafts with other residents, arts and crafts, like I was in kindergarten instead of a woman who had built a multi-million-dollar company. The best part," Marcus said, "is that we would handle all the paperwork, transfer utilities, change addresses, coordinate the moving company. You would not have to worry about anything, would not have to worry about losing the home I had bought for them, about being warehoused with strangers, about watching my daughter erase 41 years of memories so she could have a bigger office." "I need to think about it," I said. Vanessa's face hardened. That look I remembered from when she was 16 and did not get the car she wanted. "Mom, honestly, you are not thinking clearly right now. Grief does that to people. But we cannot let you make decisions that will hurt everyone involved. Hurt everyone involved, meaning them. The market is really strong right now," Marcus added. "If we wait too long, the opportunity might pass." Opportunity. My husband had been dead for 6 hours. "Besides," Vanessa said, standing up, "it is not like you need all that space anymore. Dad is gone. You are alone. Face reality, Mom. You are dead weight now. Time to stop holding everyone back. Dead weight." I clicked off the recording. 52 minutes. Every word. Every calculated sentence. Every moment they thought they were managing a confused old woman. They left that night with promises to circle back in a few days and help me see reason. Help me see reason about giving up everything I had worked for. I sat in that empty house surrounded by Robert's things. His reading glasses on the side table. His favorite chair where he had sat during chemo treatments when he was too weak to stand. The silence was deafening. And I realized something important. Robert always told me, "Margaret, never mistake kindness for weakness, and never let anyone, even family, mistake your love for stupidity." Time to stop making that mistake. Time to show them exactly what dead weight could accomplish. Because Vanessa and Marcus had just made the biggest miscalculation of their lives. They thought I was a grieving widow who could be manipulated into giving up everything. They forgot I was Margaret Ellison, the woman who had built a healthcare software empire from nothing, the woman who had negotiated billion-dollar contracts with hospital systems across the country, the woman who had survived 41 years of marriage, raised a daughter, and buried a husband. I was not dead weight. I was a force they had just awakened. And they were about to learn that the most dangerous opponent is not the one with the most money. It is the one with nothing left to lose and everything to prove. I picked up my phone and called my attorney. It was time to teach my daughter a lesson about respect, about gratitude, about what happens when you mistake your mother's love for weakness. 3 days after the funeral, my phone rang at 7 in the morning. Vanessa's number. "Mom, we need to talk. Can you meet us for breakfast? Magnolia Cafe on Peachtree. Public place." Smart move on their part. Harder for the grieving widow to make a scene in front of witnesses. I arrived 15 minutes early. Ordered coffee. Black. No sugar. The way Robert always made it for me during 41 years of marriage. I waited. They walked in like they owned the world. Vanessa in her designer athleisure outfit that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent. Marcus in his investment advisor costume, $3,000 suit. Watch that cost more than my first car payment. They sat across from me. No hug from Vanessa. No how are you holding up, Mom? Just business. We have been thinking, Marcus started, and we really need to move forward with the transition plan we discussed. The paperwork is ready. He slid a manila envelope across the table. Deed transfer documents already filled out, just needed my signature. There is also this, Vanessa said, pushing a second set of papers toward me. Relocation assistance agreement. I opened it. $60,000 for moving costs and transition support. That should cover Magnolia Gardens' deposit and first year, Marcus explained, plus professional movers for your personal belongings. Personal belongings. Like I was downsizing from a palace to a storage unit. What about Robert's things? I asked quietly. Vanessa's expression softened for just a moment. We will take good care of everything, Mom. Dad's books, his record collection, the photo albums. We will keep the family history safe in the home you bought us. The thing is, Marcus said, checking his expensive watch, we really need this finalized by Friday. The contractors are scheduled to start renovations next week. Renovations. 4 days after my husband's funeral, and they already had contractors lined up. Marcus continued, nothing major, just updating the kitchen, modernizing the master bathroom, opening up that wall in the den, modernizing, erasing 41 years of Robert's touches. The kitchen where he made me breakfast every Sunday, the bathroom where I had helped him shower when chemo made him too weak to stand alone, the den where we had watched our daughter grow up. Updates cost money, I said quietly. That is the beauty of it, Marcus smiled. The equity in the condo will cover everything. We have already gotten estimates. About $80,000 for the renovations. Plus we will have breathing room for when we start our family. Breathing room built on my dead husband's grave and my destroyed dreams. Vanessa leaned forward, took my hand like she cared. Mom, I know this is hard, but Dad would want us to be practical. He would want you taken care of, and he would want Marcus and me to build our future, Robert's name in her mouth, using his memory to justify stealing his home. Besides, Marcus added, let us be honest about your situation. You are 65 years old, living alone in a space designed for a family. The maintenance alone must be overwhelming. When did you last have the HVAC serviced or clean those floor-to-ceiling windows? I had the HVAC serviced 3 weeks ago. Cleaned the windows myself every Saturday morning for 7 years, the same routine Robert and I had maintained together. But Marcus did not want answers. He wanted to build his case for my incompetence. And the property taxes keep going up, Vanessa said. $3,500 a month. That is over $40,000 a year just for taxes and fees, just thrown away. Thrown away on the home I had given them. The taxes and fees I had been paying without complaint while they lived rent-free in luxury for 7 years. At Magnolia Gardens, all of that is handled, Marcus said. No maintenance, no property taxes, no HOA fees, just simple, predictable monthly costs. What if I said no? I asked. The temperature at the table dropped 10 degrees. Vanessa's mask slipped completely. Mom, that would not be fair. We have already made plans, put deposits down. Marcus already told his firm he is relocating to the Midtown office to be closer to the property. Fair. Interesting word choice from a daughter trying to steal from her mother. Marcus leaned back, casual and confident. Margaret, let us be adults here. You are not thinking clearly. Grief affects cognitive function. It is a documented medical fact. We could involve probate court if necessary, Marcus continued. Get a mental competency evaluation. But that is messy for everyone. Better to handle this privately, like family. Like family. With court threats and competency evaluations. You are talking about elder abuse, I said quietly. Marcus's smile never wavered. I am talking about adult children who care about their mother's well-being. Courts see these situations all the time. Elderly widows making poor decisions, family stepping in to help. Vanessa reached across the table, touched my hand with fake tenderness. Mom, please do not make this harder than it has to be. We are not the bad guys here. We just want what is best for everyone. Not the bad guys, just the people trying to take my home while my husband's body was barely cold in the ground. I need time to think, I said. Marcus sighed dramatically. Margaret, honestly, time is up for thinking. We need a decision today. The contractors start Monday. Today or else what? I asked. Mom, Vanessa's voice got sharp. Dad has been gone less than a week. And life goes on, she snapped. Dad would be the first person to tell you that. He was practical. He would want us moving forward, not wallowing in the past. Wallowing in grief for my husband of 41 years. Marcus stood up, signaling the end of negotiations. We will give you until tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock. After that, we will have to explore other legal options. They left me sitting there with their paperwork and their deadlines and their threats. Did not pay for their coffee. Did not ask if I needed anything. Did not say goodbye. I sat there for 20 minutes staring at the deed transfer documents, the $60,000 moving bribe, the timeline that turned Robert's death into a real estate transaction. Then I pulled out my phone and called Patricia Hamilton, my attorney. Time to explore some legal options of my own. Patricia Hamilton's office was in Buckhead, same building where I had signed the Ellison MedTech sale papers 2 years ago, $215 million after taxes and estate planning. Robert and I had planned to travel, see Paris, maybe buy that lake house in North Carolina he always talked about. Instead, I spent it keeping him alive for 20 more months. Margaret, I'm so sorry about Robert, Patricia said when I arrived. How are you holding up? Not well, and it is about to get worse. I need to see you immediately. Patricia had been our attorney for 38 years. Real estate law, business transactions, estate planning. She knew our family better than most therapists. Show me what they gave you, she said. I spread the documents across her conference table. Deed transfer, relocation agreement, Marcus's timeline, Vanessa's demands. Patricia read everything twice, 38 years of legal training, and her face got angrier with each page. This is financial elder abuse, she said finally. Textbook case. They are using emotional manipulation and legal threats to coerce asset transfer. 3 days after your husband's funeral. Can they actually get a competency evaluation? I asked. They can try, Patricia said. They will not succeed. You just sold a healthcare software company for $215 million. Your financial decisions are documented as sound. Your medical records show no cognitive decline. Dr. Brooks can testify to your mental sharpness during Robert's entire treatment, but the process would be invasive, expensive, and emotionally brutal. What are my options? Legally, tell them to take a walk. Keep your home. File harassment charges if they persist. But Margaret, this is your daughter. Family court judges see these cases differently when genuine family conflict is involved. There is something else, I said. I want to know about their building, Pinnacle Tower. Who owns it? What are the financials? Patricia pulled out her laptop. Why? Call it due diligence. 20 minutes of searching. Property records, LLC filings, tax assessments, mortgage documents. The picture became clearer with each click. Pinnacle Tower Holdings owns the building, Patricia said. Purchased in 2020 for $4.6 million. Financed through Atlanta Commercial Bank. Current occupancy rate is 49%. 49%. Half empty. What is market rent for units like theirs? Patricia typed quickly. Comparable units in Midtown are renting for $10,200 to $10,800. Your daughter is paying $3,500. I had been subsidizing them at 66% below market rate for 7 years. Who is behind Pinnacle Tower Holdings? Patricia frowned at the screen. Registered agent is Richard Kowalski. He is the developer who got caught in that bankruptcy scandal last year. The Atlanta Journal-Constitution ran a piece about his cash flow problems. Buildings half empty, multiple properties in foreclosure, cash flow problems in a building, half empty with below-market tenants. Patricia, what would it cost to buy that building? She looked at me like I had suggested flying to the moon. Margaret, you just lost your husband. You are dealing with family trauma. This is not the time for major financial decisions. Robert died making me promise something, I said quietly. He made me swear I would never let anyone, including family, take advantage of my kindness again. He saw this coming, Patricia. He knew. Patricia studied my face. 38 years of reading clients. She recognized determination when she saw it. Based on the occupancy rate and Kowalski's situation, probably 4.1 million. Cash offer could knock off another 100,000. 4 million. I spent almost that much on Robert's cancer treatment. How fast could we close with cash? 7 to 10 days if Kowalski is desperate enough. And Margaret, he is desperate. 2 buildings in foreclosure, creditors circling, this might be his last liquid asset. Do it, I said. But there is something else I need you to investigate. Marcus Porter. Full financial background check. Banking records, credit reports, investment accounts, everything. That is expensive. And possibly Patricia. My daughter called me dead weight at my husband's funeral. Her husband threatened me with competency evaluations. I want to know why they need my assets so desperately. Find out what Marcus is hiding. Patricia made notes. I will make the calls. But Margaret, once we do this, there is no going back. Family relationships do not survive business disputes. Some relationships are not worth surviving, I said, standing up. The building purchase documents should be ready by tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning. 10 o'clock. Right when Marcus expected my surrender. Instead, he would get a lesson in who actually held the power. Patricia called me at 6 that evening. I was home sorting through Robert's clothes, trying to decide what to keep, what to donate. Each shirt still smelled like him. 41 years of shared closet space. Margaret, you need to sit down for this. I found why Marcus needs your money so badly. Tell me. Marcus Porter has $267,000 in undisclosed debt. Credit cards, $73,000 across 8 cards. Margin calls on unauthorized day trading, $61,000. Online gambling accounts, $89,000. Sports betting, poker, daily fantasy leagues. Personal loans from 3 different lenders, $44,000. My hand tightened on Robert's favorite sweater. Gambling. He is drowning, Patricia continued. His investment advisory firm does not know about the debt. If they find out, he loses his license. His credit score is 492. He is 1 missed payment away from complete financial collapse. So this was never about my well-being. This was about covering his gambling debts. You were the lottery ticket, Patricia said bluntly. If they got the condo through deed transfer, they could take out a home equity loan immediately. $920,000 in instant liquidity. Enough to cover all his debts with plenty left over. Robert was right, I said quietly. He told me 2 weeks before he died that Marcus was trouble. That something was not right about how desperate he seemed around money. I should have listened. You are listening now, Patricia said. The building purchase can close in 6 days, and Margaret, when you become their landlord, you can charge whatever rent you want. Market rate is $10,400. They are paying $3,500. I thought about Vanessa's face at breakfast, Marcus's threats, the timeline that treated my grief as an inconvenience, the casual way they discussed erasing Robert's memory from his own home. Patricia, I said, my voice steady, buy that building, and prepare market rate adjustment notices for Unit 1904, effective immediately after closing. Are you sure? I have never been more sure of anything in my life. My daughter thinks I am dead weight. Time to teach her what dead weight can actually move. The building purchase closed in 6 days. Ellison Holdings LLC, my new company, now owned Pinnacle Tower and everything in it, including Unit 1904. The luxury condo that used to be my wedding gift to Vanessa and Marcus. Patricia handled the paperwork like a military operation. Cashier's check for $4 million. Clean title transfer. No financing contingencies. Richard Kowalski practically kissed my hand during the signing. His bankruptcy attorney looked like he had won the lottery. "Congratulations, Miss Ellison," the title company representative said. "You are now the proud owner of a Midtown Atlanta high-rise." "I like the sound of that," I said. The first thing I did was hire Janet Rodriguez as property manager. 21 years managing commercial real estate in Atlanta. Former Marine. No-nonsense attitude. She was perfect for what came next. "Janet, I need you to conduct a comprehensive rent analysis for all units. Specifically, I want market comparisons for every lease currently below standard rates." "How far below are we talking?" she asked. "Unit 1904 is paying $3,500. Market rate for comparable units is $10,400. Janet whistled low. "That is a 66% discount. Quite a family deal you were giving them." "Was giving them?" I corrected. "Not anymore." Janet smiled. She had seen family business disputes before. "I will have the full analysis ready in 48 hours. And Janet, I want all official correspondence sent by certified mail. I need signatures confirming receipt. Everything documented." "Understood." 2 days later, the letters went out. Professional letterhead. Ellison Holdings LLC. Legal language that would make Patricia proud. Notice of rent adjustment to market rates. Effective December 1st, 2024, monthly rent for Unit 1904 will increase from $3,500 to $10,400. This adjustment brings your lease in line with current market valuations for comparable properties in Midtown Atlanta. The letter included everything: detailed comparable property analysis, market research data from 3 independent firms, legal citations explaining landlord rights under Georgia property law, and at the bottom, in small professional print, questions regarding this adjustment may be directed to Ellison Holdings LLC management during regular business hours. Vanessa called at 6:32 the morning after delivery. 17 missed calls before I finally answered at 7:15. "Mom, what the hell is this letter?" "Good morning, Vanessa. I assume you are referring to the rent adjustment notice." "Rent adjustment? You nearly tripled our rent. This has to be illegal." "Actually, it is called market pricing. Something Marcus should understand given his background in investment advising." "This is insane. We are family." "Funny. Last week, you told me I was dead weight holding everyone back. Apparently, market forces do not recognize family discounts." Dead silence on the line. Vanessa processing the implications. "Mom, you cannot do this. We have rights as tenants." "Absolutely. Georgia law protects your rights completely. You have 30 days notice before the adjustment takes effect. That is exactly what I provided." Marcus grabbed the phone, his voice tight with barely controlled rage. "Margaret, this is harassment. We will fight this in court. Please do, Marcus. I have excellent attorneys. They specialize in landlord-tenant law. Very thorough. Very expensive. You are being vindictive. I am being businesslike. Is that not what you wanted? When you threatened competency evaluations? When you said I was not thinking clearly? This is different," Marcus sputtered. "You are attacking our home." "No, Marcus. I am managing my investment property." There is a significant difference. Vanessa took the phone back, her voice cracking. Mom, please. We cannot afford $10,400 a month. Then perhaps you should consider downsizing. I hear Magnolia Gardens has some very affordable units available. The line went completely silent for 10 long seconds. You are a bitch, Vanessa whispered. Language, sweetheart. Your father raised you better than that. Do not you dare bring Dad into this. Robert taught me something important, Vanessa. He said never let anyone, even family, mistake your love for stupidity. I loved you enough to give you everything. You mistook that for stupidity. This is not love. This is revenge. No, this is education. You wanted me to face reality. Welcome to Market Reality. Class is now in session. Marcus got back on the phone. Margaret, we will go to the media. Elder abuse. Family exploitation. This will not look good for your reputation. Go ahead, I said calmly. Call the news stations. I will give them copies of our conversation from the funeral. 52 minutes of audio where you threatened legal action against a grieving widow. That should make compelling television. Silence. Absolute silence. Plus, I continued, I will provide financial records showing $1.38 million invested in Vanessa's life. College, wedding, housing, 7 years of subsidized rent. Let the public decide who is exploiting whom. You recorded us, Marcus said, his voice shaking. I record everything, Marcus. That is what successful businesswomen do. We document our transactions carefully. Vanessa was crying now. Real tears or performance tears, I could not tell anymore. Mom, this will destroy us financially. Then you understand exactly how I felt when you tried to force me into senior living 3 days after your father's funeral. That was different, she said. How? How is it different, Vanessa? We were trying to help you. By stealing my home and warehousing me with strangers? By erasing your father's memory so you could have a bigger office? Some help. Marcus came back on, voice shaking with rage. Fine. You want to play hardball? We will move out. Find somewhere else. But do not expect to ever see us again. Marcus, you are missing the point. I already do not see you. When did you last visit before the funeral? When did you last call to check on me during your father's illness? When did you last act like family instead of vultures circling a dying man's estate? No answer, just breathing on the line. The rent adjustment stands, I said calmly. 30 days notice as required by law. Market rates apply to everyone, even family who forget what family actually means. Mom, Vanessa tried one more time, her voice small. It is Miss Ellison now, I said, or landlord if you prefer. We stopped being family when you called me dead weight at your father's funeral. I hung up, sat in Robert's chair, the one where he used to read the newspaper every morning for 41 years. The leather still held the shape of his body. Janet called 20 minutes later. Miss Ellison, your tenants just contacted me. They want to schedule an emergency meeting to discuss payment options and extensions. Tell them business hours are 9 to 5. Appointments only. No family discounts. No exceptions. Understood. Also, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution called something about a story on family real estate disputes and elder rights. Transfer them to Patricia Hamilton. My attorney handles all media inquiries. Already done. Anything else? Yes. Start advertising Unit 1904 as available January 1st. Market rate, $10,400 monthly. Premium Midtown location. City views. Already drafted the listing. It goes live tomorrow. Janet paused. Miss Ellison, if you do not mind me saying, your daughter made a serious mistake. What mistake is that, Janet? She forgot that the woman who built a $215 million company from nothing does not become dead weight just because she is grieving. She confused your kindness with weakness. Exactly, I said. And now, she is learning the difference. I found Robert's letter 3 days later while sorting through his desk. The mahogany desk he had used for 30 years, where he handled our finances, wrote cards to Vanessa, planned our life together. I had been avoiding this task. Every drawer held memories. Every paper carried his handwriting. But the estate needed settling. Bills needed paying. Life, as Vanessa had so coldly reminded me, goes on. The envelope was in the bottom drawer, tucked inside his favorite book. Baldwin's The Fire Next Time. Robert had read it every year since college. Inside the envelope, my name in his careful handwriting, instructions written across the seal. Open only if Vanessa ever disappoints you deeply. My hands shook as I opened it. 3 pages. His last words to me about our daughter. Margaret, my love, if you are reading this, then Vanessa has shown you who she really is. I have seen the signs for years. The entitlement, the way she treats your generosity like obligation, the coldness that appears when she does not get what she wants. I kept hoping she would grow out of it, that the values we tried to teach her would eventually take root. But I know my time is running short, and I need you to hear this. You give too much, Margaret. You always have. It is one of the reasons I fell in love with you. But Vanessa has learned to take without gratitude. She sees your love as weakness. She sees our success as her inheritance, earned by birth rather than effort. If she comes after you when I am gone, and I believe she will, do not let her win, not because of the money, because of your dignity. Love without respect is not love, Margaret. It is manipulation. You do not owe anyone, even our daughter, access to your resources if they cannot show basic human decency. Protect yourself. Honor the life we built together. And remember that I loved you for 41 years, not because you were easy to love, but because you were worth loving. Vanessa needs to learn that same lesson. Signed, your Robert. I read the letter 3 times, cried through all 3 readings. Robert had known, had seen what I had refused to see, had given me permission, even from the grave, to protect myself. I called Patricia. I need character witnesses, people who knew Robert and me, people who can speak to our relationship with Vanessa before this started. How many do you need? All of them. The list grew quickly. Dr. Angela Brooks, Robert's oncologist at Emory, 23 years of practice. She had watched me care for Robert through every treatment, every setback, every small victory. Carmen Mitchell, the hospice nurse who had been with us during Robert's final weeks. She had seen devotion that most people only read about in books. Tom Bradley, former CFO of Ellison MedTech, 40 years of business partnership. He could speak to my mental sharpness, my business decisions, my competence. The congregation from Ebenezer Baptist, where Robert and I had attended for 30 years. Pastor Williams had married us, baptized Vanessa, and buried Robert. He knew our family history better than anyone. Robert's college friends from Morehouse, the men who had stood up at our wedding 41 years ago, the book club ladies who had supported me through Robert's illness, neighbors from our old house in Cascade Heights. Each one had seen the relationship between mother and daughter deteriorate over the years. Patricia worked fast. Within a week, she had formal statements from 12 witnesses. Dr. Angela Brooks wrote, Margaret Ellison was the most devoted wife I have seen in 23 years of oncology practice. She never missed an appointment, learned to administer medications at home, slept in hospital chairs for weeks at a time. When Robert died, she was completely devastated. The idea that her daughter would exploit that grief 3 hours after the funeral is unconscionable. Any suggestion that Margaret was not thinking clearly insults everything I witnessed. Carmen Mitchell, hospice nurse, provided even more detail. Miss Ellison provided round-the-clock care for her husband. I watched her sacrifice her own health to extend his life. She did everything. Managed medications, coordinated with doctors, provided emotional support to Robert and their daughter. The devotion I witnessed was extraordinary. To suggest she was mentally impaired during this time is not only wrong, it is cruel. Tom Bradley wrote about my business acumen. Margaret built Ellison MedTech through 40 years of brilliant decisions. Her financial management was flawless. Her strategic thinking was legendary in Atlanta's healthcare tech community. The sale to MedTech Systems was negotiated entirely by Margaret while caring for her dying husband. That takes remarkable mental capacity. Any claims of incompetence are absurd. Pastor Williams provided the most damning testimony about Vanessa. I have known the Ellison family for 30 years. I watched Vanessa grow from a child into an adult. Over the years, I observed a troubling pattern. Vanessa expected rather than appreciated. She demanded rather than requested. At Robert's funeral, she spent more time on her phone than greeting mourners. Margaret told me 3 days later that Vanessa had demanded her home. I was not surprised. I had seen the entitlement growing for years. But the most powerful statement came from Robert's best friend, David Morrison. They had known each other since freshman year at Morehouse. 50 years of friendship. Robert called me 2 weeks before he died, David wrote. He was worried about Vanessa. He said she had been asking too many questions about the estate, about Margaret's assets, about what would happen after he was gone. Robert told me, "David, I am afraid Vanessa sees my death as a business opportunity. He made me promise to watch out for Margaret, to make sure Vanessa did not take advantage. I wish I had done more to protect his widow, but I am doing it now by providing this statement." Patricia organized everything into a comprehensive file, 12 character witnesses, medical records documenting my competence, financial records proving sound decision-making, the 52-minute recording from the funeral, Robert's letter, giving me permission to protect myself. And the final piece, Marcus's gambling debts, $267,000 of hidden financial disasters that explained everything. "This is bulletproof," Patricia said. "If they try to challenge you legally, we have documentation that would make a prosecutor weep." But Margaret, families do not survive this kind of exposure. Once we use this evidence, there is no reconciliation. I thought about Vanessa's words, dead weight. I thought about Marcus's threats, competency evaluation. I thought about Robert's letter, love without respect is not love. "Patricia, some relationships are not worth saving." "Then we are ready," she said. "Ready for what?" "For whatever comes next." Because Vanessa and Marcus just made their next move. What move? They filed a formal complaint with the Atlanta Tenant Rights Council, claiming elder abuse and discriminatory housing practices. They want a public hearing. They want the city involved. They want to destroy your reputation. I looked at the evidence file. 12 witnesses ready to testify, financial records that told the truth, a recording that captured every threat, and a letter from my dead husband giving me permission to fight back. "Then let us give them their public hearing," I said. "Let them try to call me dead weight in front of witnesses who know better. Let them explain to Atlanta why a daughter tried to steal from her grieving mother 3 hours after burying her father." Patricia smiled. When? When can we schedule it?" She made a call. 2 weeks. Public mediation room at City Hall. Neutral moderator. Open to press and public. "Perfect," I said. "That gives us time to prepare." And Margaret? Yes? They have no idea what is about to hit them. Vanessa launched her social media campaign 3 days before the hearing. I woke up to 17 text messages from friends, all asking the same question. "Have you seen what Vanessa posted?" Her Facebook post went up at 6:47 in the morning, titled, "When Grief Becomes Greed, How Wealth Corrupts Family Bonds." It was carefully written, probably by Marcus or one of his lawyer friends, designed to sound like a concerned daughter instead of a thief caught in the act. "My mother lost my father 6 weeks ago. Instead of grieving together as a family, she has used her wealth as a weapon against me and my husband. We tried to help her transition into appropriate senior housing where she would have community and support. Instead, she bought our building and tripled our rent in retaliation. Some people let money corrupt their souls. Prayers needed for healing and forgiveness. #elder abuse. #family first. #greed destroys love. Within 2 hours, the post had 83 comments. I read through them with my morning coffee, Robert's favorite mug in my hand. The one that said "World's Best Husband." The comments started sympathetic. "So sorry you are going through this. Money changes people. Praying for your family." Then the tide shifted. Someone named Jessica Moore commented, "Wait, did your mother buy your building? How were you living there?" Vanessa replied quickly, "My mother gave us the condo as a wedding gift 7 years ago. Now she wants it back because we suggested senior housing." Jessica was not satisfied. But if she bought the building, does not that mean she owns it? Is not market rate rent normal for landlords? That is when Marcus made his mistake. He jumped into the comments defending Vanessa. "This is about elder abuse, not real estate. Margaret Ellison is using financial leverage to punish us for caring about her well-being. She needs professional help." Tom Bradley, Robert's former CFO, saw the post. His comment changed everything. "I worked with Margaret Ellison for 40 years. She built a $215 million healthcare company through brilliant decisions. The suggestion that she needs professional help is insulting. What she needs is a daughter who shows basic gratitude." The post had 147 comments by noon. The narrative Vanessa tried to create was collapsing in real time. Rebecca Chen, a friend from Robert's Morehouse network, added her voice. "I attended Robert Ellison's funeral. Vanessa spent most of the service on her phone. Margaret was devastated. If Vanessa is upset now, perhaps she should reflect on how she treated her mother 3 hours after burying her father." Then the church ladies got involved. Margaret's book club, the women who had supported her through Robert's illness, they came with receipts. Diane Foster wrote, "I visited Margaret every week during Robert's cancer treatment. She sacrificed everything to care for him. Vanessa visited twice in 18 months. Now she wants to claim her mother is not thinking clearly? The audacity is breathtaking." Linda Washington added photos. Pictures from Robert's funeral. Margaret in the front row, tissues in hand, clearly devastated. Vanessa, in the third photo, checking her phone. The timestamp visible, 11:23 in the morning, during the eulogy. The comments exploded. She was on her phone during her father's eulogy, and she is claiming her mother needs help? This is disgusting. Marcus tried to control the damage. He posted on LinkedIn a professional version of the same victim story: corporate greed versus family values. When business relationships matter more than blood, watching a parent choose money over their only child is heartbreaking. #family matters. #values over wealth. His investment firm colleagues were not buying it. David Thompson, a senior partner, commented publicly, "Marcus, I think you might want to delete this. It does not reflect well on you or the firm." Another colleague, Angela Rodriguez, was more direct. "You tried to take your mother-in-law's home 3 days after her husband died. That is not family values. That is opportunistic greed. Delete this before clients see it." But the nuclear moment came from Dr. Angela Brooks, Robert's oncologist. She did not comment on social media. She wrote a letter to the editor of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. "As Robert Ellison's oncologist, I watched Margaret Ellison provide the most devoted care I have witnessed in 23 years of practice. She never missed appointments, learned complex medical procedures, sacrificed her own health for her husband. To see her daughter now claim she is mentally impaired or motivated by greed is unconscionable. I am speaking publicly because silence enables elder abuse. Margaret Ellison is a victim of her daughter's greed, not the perpetrator." The letter published 3 days before the hearing. Front page of the Metro section. Margaret Ellison's doctor speaks out on family dispute. The article included details from the funeral recording, quotes from Patricia about the legal threats, and Marcus's gambling debts. Vanessa's victim narrative evaporated overnight. Comments on her Facebook post shifted from sympathy to outrage. Your mother's doctor is defending her publicly. Maybe you should reflect on your own behavior. She gave you a $920,000 condo and you wanted more? Disgusting. Friends started unfriending. Her yoga studio stopped liking her posts. The lifestyle influencers she followed suddenly unfollowed her. Marcus fared worse. His LinkedIn post generated dozens of comments from Atlanta's business community. How can we trust someone with our investments when he steals from family? His managing partner called him into a closed-door meeting Monday morning. By Tuesday, Marcus was on administrative leave pending ethics review. By Wednesday, Vanessa had deleted all her social media posts. By Thursday, Marcus deactivated his LinkedIn entirely. But the damage was permanent. Atlanta is a city that values respect and family. Word travels fast, especially in the Black professional community. The story was everywhere. The daughter who called her mother dead weight. The son-in-law with gambling debts. The widow who fought back. Friday morning, the Atlanta Tribune ran an editorial, "Elder Abuse Takes Many Forms." It featured my story as a cautionary tale about adult children who exploit grieving parents. The writer, a respected Black journalist named Marcus Williams, pulled no punches. Margaret Ellison represents every parent who gave everything to their children only to be discarded when convenient. Her daughter's behavior at Robert Ellison's funeral was not grief, it was greed. The fact that she is now claiming victim status while her mother fights for basic dignity is a disgrace to family values. Atlanta should be ashamed that this happened in our community. We should be protecting our elders, not enabling their exploitation. The editorial was shared 4,000 times in 24 hours. By Saturday, 2 days before the hearing, public opinion had completely turned. Vanessa and Marcus were pariahs. The people who were supposed to be character witnesses for them quietly withdrew. Nobody wanted to defend a daughter who checked her phone during her father's eulogy. Nobody wanted to support a son-in-law with hidden gambling debts. Sunday evening, Patricia called. "Margaret, you need to see this." Vanessa's attorney just filed a motion to cancel the public hearing. They want private mediation instead. Why the change? Because they know they have lost the public relations war. A public hearing means reporters, means community members who have read the articles, means people who will see through their lies. They want privacy now because exposure destroys them. What did you tell them? I told them the hearing proceeds as scheduled. They demanded it. They made it public. Now they face the consequences publicly. Good, I said. Robert taught me something important. Sunlight is the best disinfectant. Let everyone see who Vanessa and Marcus really are. The hearing is Monday at 10. Are you ready? I thought about the 12 character witnesses waiting to testify, the financial records that told the truth, the 52-minute recording from the funeral, Robert's letter giving me permission to fight. I am ready, I said. Let us show Atlanta what happens when you mistake a mother's love for weakness. The Atlanta City Hall mediation room was packed. What started as a private tenant dispute had become a public event. Word spreads fast when the Atlanta Tribune runs editorials and doctors write letters defending widows against their own children. The room held about 75 people. Front rows filled with a few of Vanessa and Marcus's remaining supporters, young professionals who had not read the full story, people who still believed the social media version before it got deleted. Middle rows held the curious, Atlanta residents interested in tenant rights, local journalists with notebooks, a few city council members. Back rows were mine, Dr. Angela Brooks from Emory Oncology, Carmen Mitchell, the hospice nurse, Tom Bradley, Robert's business partner, Pastor Williams from Ebenezer Baptist, the book club ladies who had known me for 30 years. 12 character witnesses ready to speak truth. Councilman David Thompson moderated, fair-minded, known for following facts, instead of emotions. We are here to address the complaint filed by Vanessa Ellison Porter and Marcus Porter regarding alleged discriminatory rent practices by Ellison Holdings LLC. Miss Ellison, as property owner, you may present first. I stood slowly. Every eye in the room followed. Thank you, Councilman Thompson. Before I begin, I want everyone to understand what this is really about. This is not about tenant rights. This is not about housing discrimination. This is about whether a daughter can threaten her mother with competency evaluations 3 hours after burying her father, then claim victim status when the mother refuses to surrender her home. Murmurs through the crowd. Vanessa's remaining supporters shifted uncomfortably. I have documentation for everything I am about to share. Audio recordings, financial records, witness statements, medical evaluations. This is not speculation. This is documented fact. I played the funeral recording. 52 minutes condensed to the most damaging 12 minutes. Marcus's threats about competency evaluations. Vanessa calling me dead weight. The timeline treating Robert's death as a business opportunity. The demand that I move to senior housing immediately. The room went silent. Phones came out. People started recording. That conversation happened 6 hours after we buried my husband of 41 years. The papers they brought were deed transfers. They wanted my home. They wanted it immediately. And they threatened legal action if I did not comply. Vanessa stood up. Mom, you are taking everything out of context. We were trying to help you. Help me how? Lose my home? Move to assisted living? Sign away my assets while grieving? You were not thinking clearly. I pulled out the financial audit and medical records. Let us talk about thinking clearly. I sold Ellison MedTech for $215 million 18 months ago while caring for my dying husband. That transaction was praised by the Atlanta Business Chronicle as one of the year's most complex deals. Does that sound like impaired judgment? Dr. Brooks stood. I treated Robert Ellison for 20 months. Margaret made every medical decision with perfect clarity. Her cognitive function was exceptional throughout her husband's terminal illness. Any suggestion otherwise is medically false. Marcus tried to interrupt. That is not the issue here. The issue is, I said, why you needed my assets so desperately. I pulled out Marcus's financial records. The second bomb dropped. Marcus Porter owes $73,000 in credit card debt, $61,000 in margin calls from unauthorized trading, $89,000 in online gambling accounts. Total debt, $267,000. Gasps from the crowd. Marcus's face went white. If Vanessa had succeeded in obtaining my property through deed transfer, they could have taken an equity loan for $920,000. More than enough to cover Marcus's gambling debts. That is private information, Marcus shouted. You cannot. I can when you threaten to have me declared incompetent to cover your poker losses. Vanessa was crying now. Mom, please stop. You are destroying us. I am telling the truth. Something you should have done before trying to steal my home. Councilman Thompson raised his hand. Miss Ellison, do you have evidence supporting these debt claims? Patricia distributed the financial investigation to council members and journalists. Credit reports, bank statements, gambling account records, all documented and verified. Marcus Porter has been borrowing against future income to maintain an unsustainable lifestyle. The rent increase threatens his ability to cover debts he has hidden from his employer and his wife. The room erupted. Vanessa looking shocked, as if she had not known the full extent. Marcus's face red with humiliation and rage. But I was not finished. I want to read something, I said, pulling out Robert's letter. This was written by my husband during his final weeks. Instructions to open only if Vanessa ever disappointed me deeply. The room quieted completely. I read Robert's words. His warning about Vanessa's entitlement, his observation that she treated generosity as obligation, his final instruction. Love without respect is not love, Margaret. It is manipulation. Several people in the audience were crying. Even Councilman Thompson looked moved. Vanessa sobbed audibly. "Robert died making me promise I would never let anyone take advantage of my kindness again," I said. "Not even family." The back rows started applauding, then more joined, then most of the room. Councilman Thompson called for order. "Based on the evidence presented, I find no violation of tenant rights or discriminatory practices. Market rate adjustments are legal and appropriate. This complaint is dismissed." Vanessa and Marcus left without a word, but I had one final statement for the record. Before anyone left the room, I stood one final time. "To anyone who thinks I was too harsh," I said, my voice carrying across the silent space, "I am 65 years old. I buried my husband 6 weeks ago. I supported my daughter for 33 years, paid for her education, her wedding, subsidized her housing for 7 years. $1.38 million invested in her life. And when I needed family most, when I was grieving the loss of my partner of 41 years, they saw opportunity instead of obligation." I looked toward the door where Vanessa and Marcus had fled. Love should be a two-way street. For too many years, I walked both directions. Today I taught them how traffic really works. The applause lasted several minutes. The local news coverage lasted all week. Within 3 days, the consequences rolled in like a storm. Marcus's investment firm, Pinnacle Financial Advisors, terminated his employment. The official statement cited undisclosed financial conflicts and ethical violations. Translation: they found out about the gambling debts and the attempt to steal from his mother-in-law. His professional reputation was destroyed overnight. Nobody in Atlanta's financial community would touch him. Vanessa lost her consulting contracts. 3 corporate clients quietly ended their agreements. Companies do not want to be associated with someone who exploits grieving widows, even when that widow is their own mother. Her business insurance was canceled. Her professional network vanished. The lifestyle she had built on my subsidies collapsed in days. 2 weeks after the hearing, I received a certified letter. Marcus and Vanessa were separating. The filing cited irreconcilable differences. Translation: Vanessa had finally discovered the full extent of Marcus's gambling, the debts he had hidden from her, the desperate scheme he had orchestrated using her grief and my generosity. They moved out of the condo by month's end, could not afford the market rate rent, could not get approved for another luxury apartment, with Marcus's destroyed credit and no income. Last I heard through the church network, they were renting a small 2-bedroom in East Point for $1,200 a month. Marcus was working at a financial call center for $18 an hour. Vanessa had taken a position at a marketing firm, entry-level work she had not done since before business school. The condo sat empty for 1 month. Then Janet found perfect tenants. A young doctor and her husband, both professionals, both respectful, both paying $10,400 monthly without complaint. They loved the space, sent me a thank you note for keeping the building well maintained. The kind of tenants Robert would have approved of. But the hardest part was not Vanessa's downfall. It was the silence. No calls, no texts, no apologies, just absence where my daughter used to be. I sold Pinnacle Tower 3 months after the hearing. The new owners, a professional real estate management company, paid $4.8 million, $700,000 profit in 4 months. I donated every penny to the Robert Ellison Cancer Research Fund at Emory. $3.5 million, helping other families fight the disease that took my husband. The fund's mission statement came from Robert's letter. Love without respect is not love. Some boundaries, once established, protect everyone. The press release made headlines. Widow donates millions after family dispute. The Atlanta Tribune ran a follow-up story. Margaret Ellison's grace in adversity. It detailed the donation, the fund's purpose, and Robert's legacy. But it was the final paragraph that mattered most to me. In choosing to honor her husband's memory through service rather than revenge, Margaret Ellison demonstrated that true strength is not about destroying those who hurt you. It is about building something meaningful from pain. I framed that article, hung it in my living room next to Robert's photograph, the one from our 40th anniversary, 1 year before he died. Both of us smiling, his arm around my shoulders, completely in love after 4 decades together. Sometimes late at night, I would sit in his chair and wonder if I had done the right thing. If I had been too harsh, if a mother should forgive anything, even betrayal at a funeral, then I would reread his letter, his permission to protect myself, his wisdom about love and respect, and I would know I had honored both Robert and myself. The book club ladies still came over every Thursday. Carmen Mitchell, the hospice nurse, checked on me monthly. Dr. Brooks invited me to speak at an elder care symposium about recognizing and preventing family financial abuse. My testimony helped pass new protections for grieving widows in Georgia. Life moved forward, slower than before, quieter, but honest in ways it had not been when Vanessa was part of it. I was learning to live alone, to be enough for myself, to find purpose beyond being someone's wife or someone's mother. 6 months later, Vanessa knocked on my door. Not the Pinnacle Tower condo. I had moved to a smaller place in Druid Hills after selling the building. 2 bedrooms, garden view, quiet street. Enough space for one woman learning to live again. She looked different, thinner, less polished. The designer clothes replaced with simple Target basics. Hair pulled back in a plain ponytail instead of the expensive salon styles she used to maintain. "Mom, can we talk?" I let her in. Made coffee the way Robert used to. We sat at my small kitchen table, far from the marble counters and city views she had once demanded as her birthright. "Marcus and I are divorced," she said quietly. 3 months ago. The papers were finalized last week. I nodded. I had heard through Pastor Williams. Atlanta is a small city for big news. The gambling was worse than I knew. He had accounts I never saw, debts from before we even married. He used our joint credit, my retirement account, everything. I borrowed against my consulting income to cover his losses. "I am sorry to hear that." She looked surprised, as if she had expected anger instead of sympathy. "You are sorry? After everything?" "Vanessa, I never wanted your marriage to fail. I wanted you to understand boundaries and respect. I wanted you to see that love is not the same as unlimited access to resources." The investment firm fired him for the ethics violations. The gambling, the attempt to, she paused, the attempt to exploit you. He cannot work in finance anymore. Where is he now? Living with his brother in Macon, working construction, going to Gamblers Anonymous twice a week. We have not spoken in 2 months. "And you?" "I got a job at a small marketing agency, starting over at the bottom. $38,000 a year. I am renting a 1-bedroom in Decatur. Learning to budget for the first time in my life." We sat quietly for several minutes, the weight of 6 months settling between us like dust. "I owe you an apology, Mom." She looked at me directly for the first time, not because of the money, because of Dad's funeral. "What I said, what we tried to do. What you said hurt," I told her, "but what you tried to do was worse. You tried to take everything I had while I was at my most vulnerable." "I know, tears now, real ones. I was scared. Marcus was panicking about his debts. We thought you would be okay. That you did not really need all that space. That you could just move on. I needed my daughter. Instead, I got business partners trying to liquidate my assets. I am so sorry, Mom. I am so deeply sorry." "Margaret taught me something important," I said, using Robert's words. "Love without respect is not love. It is manipulation. I loved you enough to give you everything. You took it for granted and demanded more. Can you forgive me?" "I forgive you, Vanessa. But forgiveness does not mean forgetting. Trust has to be earned back, piece by piece. How? Time, Consistency. Proving that you understand the difference between entitlement and gratitude. Can I? She hesitated. Can I visit sometimes? Just to talk? You can visit, but we start small. Coffee in public places. Slow steps. Gradual rebuilding. What about the money? The condo? I am not asking for anything. I need you to know that. The condo has new tenants. Good people who appreciate what they have. The building was sold months ago. I donated the proceeds to the Cancer Research Fund in your father's name. She nodded slowly. That is what Dad would have wanted. Yes, it is. She left an hour later. Promised to call before her next visit. To respect boundaries. To earn back what she had broken. 1 month later, a card arrived. Robert's birthday. Simple handwriting. Thinking of Dad today. Grateful for the mother who loved him completely and had the strength to demand respect. Small steps, but steps forward nonetheless. 3 months after that, Vanessa called asking if she could bring flowers to Robert's grave. We met at Westview Cemetery on a Sunday morning. She had brought his favorite, sunflowers. We stood together at his headstone. Robert James Ellison. Beloved husband, father, friend, 41 years of love. She cried. I held her hand. Not like before. Not with the unconditional enabling that had created her entitlement, but with the careful affection of a mother teaching her adult daughter that love requires respect, that family requires effort, that some bridges can be rebuilt, but only if both people are willing to carry the weight. As we walked back to our cars, Vanessa said quietly, I read Dad's letter. The one he left you. How did you? Pastor William showed me a copy. He thought I should understand what Dad saw in me. What he warned you about. And he was right. I was entitled. I did treat your generosity like obligation. I needed to lose everything to understand what I had. We stood in the parking lot, 2 women connected by blood and history, but separated by necessary boundaries. I am proud of you, I said. For acknowledging that, for doing the work to change. That is more than most people ever do. Can we have coffee next week? She asked. Public place. My treat. I would like that, I said. We drove away in different directions, mother and daughter. Not healed completely, not back to where we were, but moving forward together, slowly, carefully, learning that the strongest families are not the ones that never break. They are the ones that know how to rebuild with honesty, respect, and hard-won wisdom. Robert would have been proud, not of the conflict, but of the lessons learned, the boundaries established, the love that survived by learning to demand respect. That night, I sat in his chair reading his letter one more time. Love without respect is not love. Some boundaries, once established, change everything. Even family learns to respect the fence. And behind that fence, protected by hard lessons and necessary distance, real love could finally grow. Where are you listening from right now? What city? What state? What country? Drop it in the comments. I love seeing how far these stories reach across the world. Hit that like button if this story resonated with you. Share it if you know someone who has ever been called dead weight by the people they sacrificed everything for. Subscribe because I have more stories about people who learned the difference between love and manipulation, who proved that grief does not equal weakness, and who showed that the strongest boundaries protect the deepest love. Thanks for listening. Remember, love without respect is not love. It is manipulation. And sometimes the people who love you most are the ones who teach you that boundaries are not walls. They are foundations. See you in the next story.